Welcome to Spiritual Geography. I'm Joni Miller. In this polarized environment, we often want to change other people's positions so that they see things in the same clearly superior way that we do. Understanding the process by which someone changes their mind helps our efforts not be futile. Social psychologist Jonathan Haidt came up with an analogy 20 years ago that still rings true today. Imagine you are a human riding an elephant. You know where you want to go and try to guide the elephant in that direction. But the elephant has a mind of its own and is vastly bigger than you, a puny human. The rider represents our rational brain. The elephant symbolizes everything other than our logical mind, our emotions, our values, our subconscious thoughts and desires. What's really running the show, the elephant, has nothing to do with logic. We sometimes respond in social media as if we believe one well-phrased argument will change someone's mind, as if logic alone can lead someone out of a seemingly intractable position. This strange belief actually makes some sense because as humans we like to think we are ruled by logic, that we're virtuous and smart and the hero of our own story. And thus, if someone makes a good argument, that we can and will change our minds. However, research shows that's not how it works for any of us. That doesn't mean we're bad or stupid, merely that we're human. And just like a rider needs to understand the elephant in order to work with it, we need to understand these other processes going on underneath so that we can actually make up and change our minds. Look, I've been studying how people change their sincerely held beliefs, how people change their minds for a long time now. People rarely change their beliefs in an instant. Even if the change appears to be instantaneous to you, I guarantee you there was a lot going on under the surface that softened the person's grip on their previous position before they could come to that new position. We often act as if we dropped out of our mother's womb with our current enlightened positions on racism or sexism or the environment, but our positions have been shaped and informed by our life experiences, by the information we've consumed, and by the people around us. And you are still being molded by all three things: what happens to you, what you're reading and listening to, and the people with whom you inhabit your world. So, how do we change our beliefs? I came up with 3 steps in this very complicated process. Step 1 is something happens. We rarely voluntarily change our sincerely held beliefs without something coming along to shake us up a little bit. A child comes out as gay. A tragedy happens to you or a family member. A piece of information you've never heard before makes you question a public figure, or someone you trust changes their mind about a topic or a person, and now you're beginning to doubt your prior position too. The something that happens has to be important enough to you so that you have to look at your beliefs. For example, a distant relative coming out as gay may not be enough to shake your foundation, while your child coming out as gay probably would. The second step is that we reflect on what happened. How does this new information fit into what I know and understand? Are there some parts of this I can accept, while other parts I feel I need to still push against? And how am I different or the same from others who may believe this? Which is really important in this environment we're in now, where if you change one little thing, it may be perceived as if you're going over to the other side. The last step in this process of change is that we integrate, reintegrate, or reject this information as we recreate our belief system. And this may be ongoing as we cycle through the first two steps over and over. We may end up at the end of all of this with the same belief we started with, but by the process of examination, we ourselves have been somehow changed. To show you how this works, let me give you an example. I did research with conservative Christian counseling students who were wrestling with the ethical responsibility to provide services to gay clients. I wanted to get inside their process, inside their decision-making, to understand their struggle. Step 1, something happens. The something in this scenario is that the Code of Ethics of the American Counseling Association, which most counseling programs need to adhere to, prohibits counselors from refusing to see clients based on a slew of discriminatory categories, including sexuality. So the conservative Christian student had to determine what that meant to them. How could they counsel gay clients if they did not, quote, agree with their lifestyle, to use the words of one of my participants? Another something that may have happened is that the student heard new information about what it means to be gay, and heard, perhaps for the first time in their life, that being gay is not a choice someone makes, just like those who are heterosexual do not choose to be opposite sex attracted. There is some sort of inciting information that requires the person to examine their beliefs. And that was inciting information, not exciting information. Step 2 of the change process, one participant summarized this beautifully by saying, "How do I reconcile what I've always been taught with what I'm learning now?" So there's this sense of, how do I figure this out? The students did the hard work to somehow reconcile, because reconciling this mattered to their successful completion of their counseling program. Some actively sought out new information about human sexuality, including expanding their personal network to include gay people. Some looked at their faith beliefs and found strength within their Christian faith, verses like judge not and concepts such as free will. Or they looked at how they were being taught to work with clients, that clients have autonomy, and how they could use counseling techniques to bracket their own personal beliefs. They went to trusted advisors from their counseling program and their faith community for guidance. The people who had the most impact as advisors were the ones who could understand their struggle without judging. Professors who were also Christian, or friends who were Christian and were also counselors or social workers. what didn't help and actively made it harder for them? Feeling judged for being in the midst of this reconciliation. People calling them homophobic. Pastors or other Christians doubting their genuine faith for even questioning their position on this perceived sin. Remember, we're each the hero in our own story. So if we feel attacked, we often double down on our position or retreat from the examination itself. If you want to help someone, allow that they are in process, as we all are on some issue or another. The last step in this change process is to recreate their belief system. All my participants felt it would be possible for them to counsel gay people. Some because they changed their belief that being gay was sinful. Some because they found a way to work within their faith without changing their faith beliefs by leaning on their role as a counselor. Going back to the analogy of the rider and the elephant, these conservative Christian counseling students had a lot of emotions and beliefs that were driving the elephant. Beliefs about sin, beliefs about what it means to be a good Christian, to be a good counselor. A counseling professor, were they to say, you need to be able to counsel gay people, a logical argument, wasn't enough for them to steer the elephant in the direction they needed to go. They needed to work with these underlying concepts, their emotions and values, in order to make the change needed. I've got a lot more to say about how we change our minds, so I'll continue this in my next episode. But for now, know one thing. Calling someone racist or sexist or homophobic or transphobic is usually not helpful at all. Be kind. Make your case without demeaning anyone. Know that this process of change is complicated, could possibly take a long time, and may involve far more changes than you realize. Plant a seed and nurture that seed with love. We don't understand the mysteries of the universe, but we can grow more love. Love for ourselves, love for others, and love for the infinite mystery that lays beyond our understanding. Thank you for tuning in.